Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating case study involving the world's most dominant restaurant. We often make these huge assumptions about why titans like this win, but when you look at the actual history and the structure behind it, well, it completely flips our traditional ideas of success and scale upside down. We're going to look at the cold, hard facts, the history, and the underlying architecture behind absolute global domination. And trust me, the lessons we pull from this are going to completely change the way you look at building anything of lasting value.
So I want you to really think about something for a second. What if having the best food literally didn't matter? I mean, imagine the thousands of restaurants right now and throughout history that have served vastly superior burgers. They had fresher, locally sourced, way higher quality ingredients. They had highly creative, incredibly gourmet menus. And yet, they completely failed to conquer the globe. Meanwhile, one single company, serving a very basic, stripped-down menu, absolutely took over the planet. How does that even happen?
Okay, let's really dive into this. On one side, you've got the gourmet burger. It might be undeniably delicious today, but it relies heavily on exactly who is standing in the kitchen at that exact moment. It is inherently inconsistent. On the other side, you have the McDonald's burger. It is entirely, relentlessly predictable. And this brilliantly illustrates our core thesis for today. The food wasn't the secret to their global domination. The system behind the food was.
Section 1. The 1940s Restaurant Problem.
To really grasp how revolutionary this system was, we have to travel back in time a bit. If you walked into a typical diner or car hop in the 1940s, you were going to face a very specific, universal set of pain points. It was, well, total chaos. First, you waited. Customers experienced these painfully long waits just to get someone's attention. Second, your orders frequently got mixed up, mainly because communication between the servers and a frantic kitchen was essentially broken. Third, the food quality changed drastically from cook to cook. But the absolute biggest issue, the fatal flaw for any business trying to grow, was total worker dependency. The entire operation relied on individual talent. If you had a great chef, things were good. But if that chef left, or if management changed, the entire customer experience crumbled. Every restaurant owner was so focused on trying to make better food that practically nobody was focused on building a better system.
Section 2. The Speedee Service System.
That broken industry standard was all about to change, thanks to two brothers and a radically new concept. Richard and Maurice McDonald were not trying to build a global empire. That wasn't their goal at all. They just had a desperate need for efficiency in their own local operation. So, they asked a uniquely powerful question that shifted the entire restaurant paradigm. They asked, what if a restaurant worked like a factory? This is the crucial pivot point. They stopped looking at their diner as a traditional kitchen and started looking at it as an assembly line.
So how did they actually execute this factory mindset? Well, they broke it down into 3 brilliant steps. Step 1, they eliminated unnecessary menu items to completely reduce complexity. In fact, they even got rid of all plates and silverware, so there was absolutely nothing to wash. Step 2, they standardized their procedures. Fries weren't just cooked, they were timed to the second and cooked the exact same way every single time. Step 3, they designed a kitchen where every employee had a very specific assigned role. One person only grilled, one person only dressed the buns. By implementing this specific sequence, burgers moved faster, everything became perfectly consistent, and most importantly, they slashed those tedious wait times from incredibly long periods down to mere minutes. It completely altered the DNA of the restaurant industry.
Section 3. Ray Kroc's Scalable Vision.
Now, the brothers had built an incredible engine, right? But it took a struggling milkshake machine salesman named Ray Kroc to realize how far that engine could truly go. He walked into this factory the brothers had built and was completely amazed. But he wasn't amazed by the burgers, and he wasn't amazed by the fries. He was amazed by the process. He realized something that absolutely everyone else was missing. A great burger can be copied. A great system is much harder to copy. While all the competitors in the 1940s and 50s were still fighting over taste, Kroc saw that the real battle, the battle for global dominance, was going to be won on scalability.
Kroc developed this grand vision. He imagined thousands of locations, and the foundational rule was this: California to New York, the exact same experience. Whether you visited a location on the West Coast, the East Coast, or eventually another country entirely, the burger would taste exactly the same. The service would feel exactly the same. The process would remain entirely unbroken. In an era of total inconsistency, where a road trip meant taking a massive gamble on every single meal, that level of guaranteed replication was nothing short of revolutionary.
Section 4. Selling reliability, not burgers. Which brings us to the elephant in the room.
Why did all those better-tasting gourmet restaurants ultimately lose the war? Because McDonald's fundamentally changed what was actually being sold. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it comes down to the actual psychology of the consumer. Customers don't just buy food. That is a massive misconception. What they are actually buying is convenience, predictability, speed, and trust. While competitors focused entirely on improving their physical products, adding more spices, fancier buns, McDonald's focused entirely on improving their systems to deliver on those four psychological needs perfectly.
When people walked into a McDonald's, they knew exactly what they were getting. No surprises, no long waits, no inconsistent quality. To achieve this, McDonald's measured absolutely every single second. They strictly documented every single process. Every location was forced to follow incredibly strict standards. They literally stopped selling hamburgers, and they started selling absolute reliability. And as the history shows, reliability scales better than almost anything else on Earth.
Section 5. Why systems beat talent.
So, why does all of this matter to you? How does this historical deep dive apply to what we do today? Well, the true competitive advantage of McDonald's was never a secret recipe. It wasn't the biggest menu, and it certainly wasn't gourmet quality. It was operational excellence. The ability to create a process so efficient that it can be repeated thousands of times. This is the mechanism that allows companies to serve millions of people daily across the globe. Operational excellence is, without a doubt, the ultimate moat. And look, this is just the reality of modern business. On one side, you have talent, and talent absolutely helps. Having highly skilled people, having incredible quality, that fundamentally matters in business for sure. But on the other side, you have systems. And systems are what actually create scale. The companies that truly dominate industries, the ones that expand relentlessly without fracturing, are often not the ones with the single best product. They're the ones with the absolute best process.
Which brings us to our final defining takeaway for this explainer. Systems beat talent when talent doesn't have systems. It's a profound thought to leave you with today. You can have the best idea, the most skilled team, and the most superior product in your market. But if you rely solely on individual effort rather than a repeatable, documented engine, you will eventually be outpaced by someone who simply figured out how to deliver a good enough product flawlessly, millions of times over. So I'll leave you with this question to ask yourself as you look at your own projects and businesses. Are you just trying to build a better burger, or are you actually building a better system? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this sparked some massive insights for you. Keep learning, keep structuring, and I will see you next time.